Good afternoon. This is Dr. Bill White, and we're going to be talking about expanding dental arches again here. We have let's see. Something's wrong too. Sorry for that stop there. We're going to be talking about expanding dental arches here. Again, I've got a case here that's 79 and a half years old, and he and I became great friends during the time that we did this. In fact, I got to know him and his family and other people in the family, and he had quite a crowded arch. This is some pictures after we more or less finished the case, but I kept seeing him for years and watched him, and almost till he was I think in his 90s. And this is 04. This time he's 79 and a half. He looks older than that. He's got his hearing aids there. Just the nicest guy, though, you ever would run into. And this is some things of the treatment plan and all that we won't be interested in. I've shown it before, but I'm trying to go in and expand these arches, and that's what I want to show you, that even though he's that age and can be even older than that, and I believe you could expand these arches up as long as a person is living. So let's go ahead and I'll run through this. This is a class 2 situation we've got. You can see now here the dental arch. We're going to come in and expand that, and it'll just be rounded out. Well, you've already seen how it did. This was when we started. You watch the palate will smooth out in here too as we go through this. Now here, after we expanded one of the arches, we put a retainer in there to hold it in place. This was in the lower arch. That we don't use very often, but once in a while we'll use them. And this is the upper retainer we put on after we expanded the upper arch. These slides are kind of jumbled up in here. Here it is. This is 1998. It was 95 when we started there. And this is expanded out. And the point is, you can do this on older people. I mean, a lot older. I think if he were 89 and a half, I think you could go in and expand it as long as he had some good bone structure and everything to work with. This is we did some x-rays and checked some other parts here. I'm going to run through a lot of these pictures. We had a little joint problems with him too, and this is a transcranial x-ray if you haven't had much experience with that, but you can see the head of the condyle right in this area right here, and here it is in a different location, we took transcranial x-rays on anybody that had a TMJ problem. He had not a severe TMJ problem, but somewhat of that. But that got fine, and we had no problem with him. We actually took a head-on x-ray here to see the condyles and see where they were. that gets out of what we're planning to show in this particular video. I just want to stress the things that we expanded the arch. Now there is the condyle when he's wide open. In other words, here's the fossa in here. And I had one thing happen, and this was most interesting. I tried to correct a class 2. Well, he came in several times. It was class 2, and then he came in the next time, and he was class 1. And I could not manipulate his jaw back. And so I took the transcranial x-rays to see really what it was. And he was just advancing his mandible out here, and he just held it there, and you couldn't get it back. And that was a odd thing for me. I had worked on a lot of people with TMJ problems, and he just flat fooled me there on that. So anyway, this is the original model, and page is 90. This is 95, and you can see how it's shaped. And then here we expanded it out. I use those large arch wires. I don't see them in here on this, but that's what we got the pressure to go out with. And then just line the teeth up like anybody else. And he corrected his class 2 problem, just corrected overnight. He just brought his jaw forward and kept it there and just stayed in that position. And this is 97. And this shows the model. We just have the model here show you the amount of class 2 that he originally had. This much. We're going to bring this dot back to this point right there. And we got part of it corrected, and then he just shifted his jaw out there and held it there, and it stayed. And so he was that way when we finished him up, and then he stayed that way from then on. So here it is in 95, and there it is 96, 95, and that's 96. We're corrected there. And this again is the upper jaw. We're showing a lot of stuff here, but this shows the 2. This was 96, and this was 12/31 of 96. It's nearly 97, and there it was in I think that was 95 when we started on him. And so you can take, here's this older person, you see that we took their shape of their jaw and the narrowness, and we expanded it out. You see how the palate kind of rounded out in here and developed. And so it didn't matter whether he was 79 and a half. I believe if he'd have been 80 or 89 and something, I think we could have done the same thing if he had good enough bone structure in there to do it. So I think we ought to work on a lot more of these adults doing stuff like this. There's the lower arch in 9/12 of 95, you see, and there we are in 96. I mean, it didn't take us long to get out there. It's 12/31 of 96, so it's nearly 97. It didn't happen overnight, but we widened that out from that point, from 9 of 95 to 12 of 90, 12/31, almost 97, when you had it out like that. And there he is in '03. And that's 97. And we kept up with him and watched him for several years in here. That's 96. Apparently something happened in here that must have was carrying that out, I think. If you want to study this case more, I've got his records there in our kind of a shop. I have a place there where I've kept many of the records on the cases that we showed. But you can take and develop anybody, I think, out that way. And it's 96, 97. Let me go through it pretty fast here. And we kept up with him for years. And there's '03. And he's still out there. And there's '03 again. '03. Sorry to show you so many pictures of this, but that's 95, and there is '03. So it stayed, you see. That's about 8 years. 95. And that ends this video. I appreciate you watching, and hope that this will carry over and we'll have people doing more of this type of orthodontics in the future. It's gratifying, and I'm going to stop. Hope you join our group and subscribe to our channel. Thank you now. I'll say goodbye. Bye.